Hi,
Hello.
Jasveer.
And hello. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are. Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you for having me.
yeah. It's a pleasure to have you here with me today and talk about your book that has recently come out on 16th, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, please. Yep.
Yeah. So, Jasveer, just go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Um, I am a facilitator, a trainer, soft skill trainer. I am a health and safety professional. Back in India, I worked in health and safety for about 9 years in the telecom sector. Now I'm in Canada for the past 3 years. I love to write. Uh, so this is the 10th book, The Hunter Genesis Revelation, which is part two of the ninth book, which was Hunter Genesis. Uh,
Yes.
I love writing. I love telling stories, even as a trainer. I've only started writing since 2018 professionally. Uh, but I've been sharing stories. So storytelling is part of training and development, and I've been doing that for a long time. So it was just putting it on pen and paper and then publishing it. So that started in 2018, and it's been an exciting journey so far. This is kind of a milestone with the 10th book, The Hunter Genesis, and this is for the first time I've kind of created a series. So yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah. And publishing 10 books in less than 6 years is quite an achievement, I would say. So,
Thank you.
your latest book, The Hunter Genesis Revolution, that has come just on 16th. Tell us about that book. What is The Hunter Genesis all about? Tell us about the first book and the second book as well.
So essentially, the first book is the beginning of the journey wherein the hunter and his team are forced to search for weapons which have been hidden for centuries, godly weapons, powerful weapons. Everybody wants them, but nobody's heard about. I mean, everybody's heard about them, of course, through myths, through stories. It's part of Indian subcontinent's history, but then nobody can find them. The hunter is the finder of antiquities. He's an adventurer. Him and his team, they go through expeditions to find hidden items. So he and his team are forced to sort of find these weapons. They get to a crucial clue in book one, and book two actually takes the journey forward. It takes the action and adventure to the next level. I'm a fan of action and adventure genre, so I try and create scenes, which can take the reader into that world. I mean, readers are going to love the action and adventure. At least that's what I believe. I've been
Absolutely.
able to I've been able to describe, and the book is set in the 18th century, so I hope I've been able to get sort of the essence of that time period in the story. Uh, I find that exciting time, and that was one reason. Somebody asked me, why did you set the book in 18th century? Why not, the modern India? That was the exciting time. A lot of things were happening. So if you read the book, I've tried to get some facts into it, some historical facts into it. Uh, so you can call it historical fiction uh, because it's got some real facts, some real characters from the 18th century, which have been amalgamated into a fictional story.
So
So
basically, it's a blend of history, fiction, adventure, action,
yes,
everything all at
and
once.
mythology.
Yeah,
Yes,
and mythology as well. So it's a complete package.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love
So,
history. So, I mean, this book gave me a chance to study more of it.
and I believe a lot of research must have gone into writing this book as well.
Exactly. I mean, in the beginning of the story, I write that I'm not an expert, but I love Indian culture, and this book is kind of homage to the rich Indian culture that we've all grown up with. So, yeah, I'm not an expert, but yes, I love the research part. I did a lot of research about the 18th century. I had no idea about that, right? And there aren't any many books available in the market which will tell you the exact story. So the idea is to get different perspectives, do your research, and then finally get the best elements that you can use for the story.
Yeah, absolutely. And and what was your inspiration for writing the Hunter Genesis?
Oh, I mean, I love action and adventure stories. Treasure hunting being the foremost of it. Uh, and that's what sort of motivated me to write this story about 3 years ago. So this idea came about 3 years ago, and finally, book one was released about a year ago. So it took me 2 years to write this story. And also, I've been a fan of comic books. Super Commandos, Groove, being my favorite. Uh, I don't care, who wrote it. I don't care what the story was about, but that was our childhood in the 80s. Those Indian comics in Hindi. I loved them, and I wanted to create something of my own. So Hunter Genesis is sort of me reliving my childhood memory, and I write stories from the point of view of a child. They are not mature stories. Uh,
They
it
are
won't be
wonderful,
nominated for
I would
awards.
say,
I
because
know
I
that,
have read
right?
the first book and
Yeah,
I absolutely enjoyed it. Like someone who doesn't have much knowledge of mythology or someone who is not even much interested in history can enjoy the book. I mean, even a beginner
love
can
that.
pick it up and just go for it.
Exactly. So this is me reliving my childhood and creating something. I wanted to create a character, which can extend into parts. So this is part two. I'm working on part three. Hopefully that should come out in 2025.
That's extremely wonderful. So as an author, are you also a reader, and which authors basically influence you while you write, and what essence you take from them?
All right. So here's a surprising fact. Before I started writing in 2018, I had never read a book.
Hmm.
Except for, of course, the study books in college and schools. No, I have this issue with concentration, right? So I can't read uh, for a long time. But when a friend of mine saw my journal, he said, we can make a book out of this.
Wow.
Before that, I had never thought about that. And it was only my memories in the 80s. So I had been writing a journal for a long time. So I had about 50,000 words in a Word file. And he saw it and he said, let's make a book out of it. I said, but I don't know how to write a book. I've never read a book. And he said, why don't you read a book? So first was his book, which was uh, a story of a cabin crew. I forgot the name. Uh, Chetan Singh, my dear friend, God bless his soul. I lost him to Delta variant in 2021. But he was the man, the author. He was a lawyer and a TV personality, and he motivated me to write the first book. We got it published. He was a dear friend. I lost him in 2021 to COVID. So that was a big setback. But then that's how, sort of the journey started of writing. I was not a writer. I was not a reader. And my first book was Chetan Bhagat's One Indian Girl.
Oh,
Loved it. Right. And then the next book was The Girl in Room 105.
hmm.
Once again, Chetan Bhagat.
Chetan Bhagat, yes.
So I loved his writing style and loved his books. Then, of course, Matilda was the next one. And then The Subtle Art of Not Giving a
Yeah,
F by
yeah,
Mark Ronson. I loved that. Chalkline, loved that. It's a story based in Kashmir, and the way the author has sort of captured the essence of Kashmir is amazing. Loved that. So these were few of the initial books that I read. Ravinder Singh's books in two parts. I loved those because they were based in Faridabad. I loved them so much. So these were few of the books that I read initially. Off late, I've been reading on and off. I try new authors. Um, Mansi is a very good author. I love her book, Erica, and then Love by Chance. I loved Mansi Nirula Kashyap. So I keep reading the books of new authors.
yeah. And what I also feel is that you were always a writer, but you never came out as a writer until you got
No,
that push.
yeah.
Yeah, so
I
you
mean,
were,
somebody has to push. Somebody has to motivate you.
yeah, you were quite lucky to have quite good friends. I would say that. Uh, so moving forward, as you said, the book is set in the 18th century. That's quite a period we only know by research and only by text, some videos and stuff like that. So what are your locations in the story? What is the basic, geographical location of the book?
uh, I'm an outdoor person, right? I love going on long tours. So the first book takes the journey from Delhi to Mumbai,
Mm.
and I did some research, tried to find out ways how travelers would travel in 18th century. I've tried to get those locations. So it starts from Delhi, goes to Agra, then Bhopal, Ujjain, and then finally they reach Mumbai. Uh, Different parts of the stories are set in different locations. Some critical scenes are set over there. Book two, however, is set in very far off location, which can only be revealed in the book. Uh, Apart from Mumbai, the
But in
primary
India.
story being set in Mumbai, yeah, the actual weapons and the location that they travel to uh, can be only read in the book. I would love for the reader's review to see my version of it. It's a location which is pretty well known, right? So I've just added a twist to that location in the book. And I
Yeah.
would really love to know the feedback from the readers if they love the twist about the location and how the location was created. That's an entire chapter about that, the history of Earth, and so that's again fiction, history merged with non-fiction, history merged with fiction. That's again that. So let me see if they love the twist. But yeah, the location is pretty far off from India, and I hope the readers love it.
Yeah, now this has, created that curiosity in me to pick the book myself. And I'm pretty excited to read it myself because I've read the first book and I have absolutely enjoyed, had a great time with it. And I was also looking forward, like, when your second one comes and what form it will be, because the first one is just the beginning. It can take any direction, the second one. It can be about anything. I mean, it has opened so many doors and possibilities. But tell us about your writing process. Like, how do you write? Are you a night writer? Do you make a compulsion of writing every single day? How does it work?
I mean, I'm a very erratic writer. That's the biggest problem with me. Like I said, I have issues concentrating
Mm.
on the screen for a long time, and laptop is something where I write a lot. Phone is another thing that I do when I'm traveling. I do that. So my ideas can come
Yeah.
anytime. I had written a
And you
very
can
short
note
book
them
called
down.
exactly. So I had written a very short book called The Metromaniac Chronicles. That was my third or I think fourth book. It's about different kinds of travelers in Delhi Metro. So I traveled in Delhi Metro for 3 years and I wrote the book about that. So that book is completely written while traveling in Delhi Metro. Uh, so there are some short stories that I wrote while traveling in public transit. Even here in Canada, I've traveled extensively in public transport, so I write on phone. So I'm not a very disciplined writer. My ideas can come anytime, but I make it a point to note them in my phone,
Mm.
or if I have a pen and paper handy, I note them there.
And you
So
take
I'm
a
not a yeah. So I'm not a writer or a day writer. My ideas can come anytime. It's erratic.
yeah, but you are a fast writer, I must say that, because like 10 books in 6 years is truly not a joke. Having a job and then getting them published is quite a process, I must say. Sending your manuscripts to publishers. So, how was your journey as a writer, like sending them to publishers? How does that work? I mean, did you always got the positive response, and how did you take that first news? How did that turned out?
So, like any other aspiring author, I also aspired to be a traditionally published author, but that didn't work out for the first book. But that did work out for The Essence of Ganga, which was biography of a healthcare professional with Yuki Ito. And then The Hunter is by Lead Start, which is again a big publisher in India. Uh, so here's the thing, how I've been able to write so many stories is I don't wait. So if I don't get a response in about 3 months, I go ahead and self-publish, which is not absolutely wrong, right? When a reader picks up a book, they don't care if it's a self-published book or a
Or
traditionally published
yeah.
book. A cover page is a cover page if it's beautifully designed. Mark Ronson is a self-published author. J.K. Rowling is a self-published
Correct.
author. They all were self-published author to begin with. Ravinder Singh, I think, got his book published somewhere in Delhi. I read his interview wherein he says that he got 500 copies printed. So that's self-publishing, right?
Correct.
Traditionally published, of course, they won't ask you for money, right? So they would ask you for a percentage in the royalty. But self-published is all you. You spend money, you design everything, you get it published. I don't wait. So I'd say my experience was bittersweet when it comes to waiting for the response. And like any aspiring author, I was hopeful that I'll get a deal, but I did not. Honestly, I didn't. So version one and a half was self-published, and 3 books after that were self-published before The Essence of Ganga was picked up by a traditional publishing company. But this is what I wanted to say. Whether it's traditional or whether it's self-published doesn't matter. If you created a good cover page, marketing starts there. And if your story is niche, it might be the same old story, but then if you put it in a different way, the readers will surely grab your book. So I don't wait. I don't wait too long. I just publish. That's it. If my story is ready, I'm going to publish. I'm not going to wait.
And I think that's quite a interesting takeaway from you as an author. If any author is watching, that will be really helpful for them as well. Moving forward, I would love to ask you that what advice would you like to give to an aspiring author who is maybe writing a book, may not be yet the published author, we call them. What would you tell them?
Every story is worth sharing. Do not ever think that your story is not worth being part of a book. Whether you're writing an anthology or a full-fledged novel, doesn't matter. Write it, publish it, get it edited. If you can self-edit it, wonderful, do it. But get it edited and then publish it. Do not wait. Do not for a moment doubt that your story is not worth being read. Get it out, let the readers decide. And remember, be open to criticism. Everybody is going to pick up the book with a different perspective, different mindset.
Hmm. And there
Some may
will be
like it,
different kind
some
of
may not
reader.
like it. Exactly. So be ready for that.
Yeah. So you just have to write it and just get it published, or publish yourself and just let the story be open to the world.
Exactly.
Yeah. And what are the other genres you would love to experiment other than mythology and historical fiction? Does romance or poetry or horror ever, or thrillers ever come to your mind?
Horror is something that I'm
Wow.
working on, horror and thriller. Romance is not my cup of tea. Like I said, I write it from a child's point perspective.
Yeah.
So romance is not my cup of tea. But then, yes, horror and thriller definitely. I've written some short stories in ensemble. So I'm republishing that, re-editing them, uh, and then that book will hopefully come out in the mid of 2024. I'm not sure what the name is going to be for second edition, but Ensemble had some good adventure and horror stories, thrillers as well. So, if possible, The Incredible Mr. Sweets was once a short story part of Ensemble, but somebody read it and said, you know what, this is a fantastic story. Why don't you create a full-fledged story out of
Lot
it?
of
So
it.
that became a separate book. So I'm looking at a few stories from Ensemble, and it's a collection of short stories by Yukio Oto. So I'm hoping that I might be able to get the second edition out, or at least get one of the stories to become a full-fledged novel.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah.
as you said, be open to criticism. How have the readers responded, particularly to the Hunter Genesis series, the first book, I would say? And overall, how do you take the negative feedback if you get any?
So I'm a trainer. We get feedback from
Mm.
our learners all the time. Some are good, some are bad. So I am used to taking bad feedback. I take it as a constructive
Mm.
criticism. No matter what the language is, that's what I do. And I'll share that. So Double One Zero was one of my uh, first fiction book, fully fiction book, spy thriller. It had mistakes.
Mm.
The editing didn't go properly, and everybody kept pointing, and the reviews are on Amazon. So that was kind of learning for me. That's criticism, but then that's my mistake, right? I know that as an author, that was my mistake. I did not go through my own manuscript once it was edited. That was a big mistake. Got it published. finally some errors, grammatical or otherwise, went into that. So that's kind of criticism I really welcome. If you see a fault, please point it out. If you see a fault or a gap in the story, please point it out. So I love that, and I would love to hear more criticism so that I can improve my writing style. And I tend to think I've come a long way with my 10th book. My writing style has improved a lot.
I'm
And this
sure
is
it
through
has.
feedback. Yeah,
I'm
this is
sure it
through
has.
feedback.
And now, when I read the second book in the series, I'm sure I'll see a lot of changes. I'll see a lot of reconstructed sentences and stuff like that. Because when you write, you definitely grow. When you experiment, you grow a lot. I
Yeah.
would love to ask you that as an author, you also get an authority to create characters. How does that make you feel?
Oh, that makes me feel empowered. Sometimes I see myself in a character. So if I'm this guy, what will I do?
Do
So
yeah.
exactly. So they say that readers live the book that they read. Writers too live the book that they write, the story that they write. So sometimes I get goosebumps if there's an action scene and I'm doing that, and I think if I'm doing
Yeah,
this, if
that
he's
rush.
loading the muzzle, right, of a musket, which is a 18th century rifle, how would I do that? You know, I fired one shot, and it's not a self-reloading rifle, it's an old rifle. So I've got to take the cartridge out of
Mm,
my pouch, I've got to bite it, I've got to put the
yeah,
the ball in it, the lead ball in it, push it down, put gunpowder in it, and in the meantime, my enemy is coming in. So, that kind of excitement when I'm creating the scene, I live that. And sometimes I get goosebumps thinking, wow, I'm dead. I'm dead because I couldn't reload my musket on time. So it's exciting, to create characters.
I think
Exciting and empowering.
that's a superpower of being an author, I would say.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah. And do you also think that your books, especially the Hunter Genesis series, can be brought to the big screen? And if yes, who are the main leads you see? I mean, which characters you see as the main leads?
I mean, I would love different mediums to showcase my stories because I love audiobooks. So two of my books, 110 and Incredible Mr. Sweets, are available in audio version as well on Audible. Movies, something that we all love. I have grown up. I've been a student of cinema for a long time. Recently, I produced a short film called Yes Sir, which is being really admired in festival circuits because it's about caste bias.
Wow.
And Mukesh Bhatt is the
And
actor in that.
where can one see it? Is it on
Uh,
YouTube or something?
right now, no, right now it's in festival circuits. It was at Dada Saheb Phalke Awards. It was nominated for that. It was nominated at Mumbai International Cult Film Festival, and Mukesh Bhatt, the actor, he got the Best Actor in Comedic Role award for that. So certainly, I would love for it to be adapted for a movie or a series. Uh, as regards to the actor, I think Hunter, Rehan, and the widow, the three main characters, and there are more characters in book two. They're all physically agile because they are constantly fighting with
Hmm.
somebody or the other, and the action is pretty huge throughout the story. Anybody who plays these characters have to be really physically agile, smart, and of course, really robust to play
Yeah.
these roles. So,
So who do you see doing this?
uh, really not sure. You've read it, you suggest me who can play the hunter.
Um, I think has to be really fit.
Yep. Who do
Yeah,
you think?
maybe Ajay Devgan.
Yeah, he is in his mid 30s, mid 40s, maybe. Yeah, he
Yeah,
does that.
yeah. We have a lot of options, but yeah, we need someone very strong, very fast, quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Rehan? What do you think?
Uh, I am kind of confused about Rehan.
Because
Mm,
he's a Sikh, right? He's a Sikh warrior. He's Nihang, so
yeah. What do you think for him?
I really haven't thought about that really. But I wish it can be done. I would love that. And whoever does it, uh, I mean, should be as per the character. Of course, the production company, they have a lot of right to selecting their actors, right? So whoever picks up and I'm not a screenwriter. I've never tried it, and I don't think so. I'm gonna write my own scripts because that's not my forte. So obviously somebody else will have to adapt it for screen.
Yeah, but the original story is going to be yours only.
Yes.
Absolutely. So do you have the book, second book, right with you
Yes.
to show the audience?
Did I not keep it with me? Oh no. Did I misplace my own book?
Not near you?
No, no, it is there. Give me a second.
Yeah, sure.
Can I mute myself? Yes, I can mute myself.
Yeah.
Give me a second. Hope you do live telecast, right? Live
Yeah.
video, and I lost the book. All right, here's the book.
Wow.
And
Okay, just
yeah. Sorry, your video froze. I couldn't hear you.
am I audible now?
Yep, you're
Yeah.
audible.
Yeah. Just go for it.
Okay, so this is the first copy of the book that I got about 10 days ago. I love it. And here we go.
Wow.
Yep.
The cover is really beautiful, I must say.
Yeah, so I would recommend readers, if you've not read book one, you should read book one first before reading this. It's Hunter Genesis Revelation. It's available worldwide on Amazon. In India, it's also on Flipkart and Pothi.com.
Yeah, and even on Amazon, right?
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Yeah,
Even
but
on Amazon.
One must read the first book to get to this one.
Yeah, so that was the biggest challenge, designing the cover page, because book one was designed by a big publishing house, which is Lead Start. They have their in-house team, but with book two, I went solo. I said I'm going to self-publish it. So the big challenge was, will the cover page complement the first one? And I think it's come out really nice. I designed it. So I hope people, readers love book two.
Color gradient scheme is very pretty. I mean, it's really complementing the background of the story. I mean, the essence is captured on the cover.
Exactly. And when readers read it, they'll find the connection between the story and the cover page. The story is the essence of the cover page is the essence of the story.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really excited myself to read it. Once we are done with the session, I'm going to also put the book's link so one can just go and buy it from Amazon. That's the easiest way, especially in India and even worldwide. Amazon is the easiest way to get the book. I'm really excited to see what happens in the book myself, and I'm excited for the readers to discover new things in this one. So anyone who is watching, just go ahead, read the first book, then come to the Hunter Genesis book 2. And once again, congratulations, you have come a long way. I'm really excited for the third book, as you said, that's going to come in 2025. All the very best, and good luck. Thanks again for joining me today. See you again and talk with you again real soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much everyone for joining and listening to us. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.